Thank you. Let's be seated, please. I stand to greet you all and express my joy of being here and extend my greetings to the President of the International Women's Forum, Ms. Kimberly Cooper, and also the Global CEO, Ms. Stephanie O'Keefe, President of the IWF South Africa, Ms. Nolita Fakute, and IWF Global Board member, Ms. Irene Chandley, and I believe the Secretary General of UNCTAD is also present and listening online, Ms. Rebecca Grayspan. And distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, we were all entertained with the songs about diamonds on the sole of your feet. And I started looking at the shoes that you all women are wearing. So I'm trying to see whether there are diamonds on your shoes. So don't be surprised when I keep looking down, checking your shoes out. I want to see where those diamonds are. For I used to work with diamond miners when I was a young man. It is indeed an honor for me to stand before a room which is filled with women who are thinkers, women who are builders and leaders, women who are so deeply imbued with the culture and the spirit of sharing knowledge, who believe in exchanging ideas and inspiring one another. It is for me an honor as well to have been invited to be at this conference, not so much to open it, but to come and hear and see what you're all about, but also to join in the celebration of women's leadership, which advances empowerment and equality not only amongst women, but in society as a whole. Now, this conference evokes the concept and the practice of Ubuntu, as you've all been talking about. I am because we all are. This is a call and a practice that is Ubuntu. It's about recognizing our shared humanity, our interdependentness, and the collective power of women in shaping society. Our country is truly honored to host this gathering of thought leaders, innovators, change makers, who are shaping the contours of our global future. We are all living in a moment defined by winds of change and transformation, changes that are driven by a whole number of factors, including technological disruptions, climate change, but more worryingly, rising inequality and poverty. It is at a time like this where the leadership of women who are rooted in collaboration and empathy becomes not just valuable, but vital. That is why it is such a joy for me to stand before you and be in the presence of all of you who are influential, who are leaders, who are innovators, and who are change makers. Your presence here signals a shared determination to confront entrenched inequalities to champion inclusive growth and to create pathways that empower women everywhere. The work of the International Women's Forum echoes principles underpinning South Africa's G20 presidency, which is about promoting solidarity, equality, sustainability. Your organization's strategic objective is to enable women to network, to share knowledge, to exchange ideas, and to inspire each other to promote better leadership for a changing world. As your organization is deeply imbued with the practice of sharing knowledge, I do believe that sharing knowledge about the existential condition of vulnerable people around the world is what you are concerned about. And the simple truth is, knowledge multiplies when it's shared. Your organization being about sharing. When you share the knowledge that you will gather from this conference, we know that it will be multiplied many times over. For when one woman learns, she shares, she lifts. When one woman speaks, others find their own voice. When one woman leads, she clears a path to craft solutions to intractable problems. And when we do this together, across various sectors, across various countries, across various generations and cultures and identities, we transform institutions, but we also transform communities from the inside out as well. Just 2 days ago, we launched the first ever G20 report on something that should concern all of us: global inequality. The report was produced by an extraordinary committee that I appointed, led by Nobel laureate Professor Joseph Stiglitz. The report in many ways sounds an alarm about inequality emergency, an inequality emergency that the world is facing today. The report shows that between 2000 and 2024, 1% of the world's population captured 41% of all new wealth in the world, while just 1% new wealth went to the poorest half of humanity. It found that in more economically unequal societies, fewer women complete higher education or are even represented in bodies that make the laws that govern them. And that the pay gap between women and men is getting wider and wider. Now, these are significant barriers to women's advancement, empowerment, and development. This conference, therefore, comes days after ministers from the G20 countries who are responsible for women's empowerment convened in the province of Gauteng. The ministers' meeting placed women's empowerment at the center of the G20 agenda, focusing on advancing the care economy, expanding women's financial inclusion, and eliminating gender-based violence and femicide, which is still so prevalent in many parts of the world. And I have said in the past that gender-based violence and femicide is the other pandemic that we have to address after addressing the COVID-19 pandemic. For it is prevalent in many, many societies around the world, just like COVID was. The recognition, reduction, and the redistribution of unpaid care and domestic work is essential to addressing structural barriers to women's empowerment, expanding women's access to finance, to digital tools, to entrepreneurship, to opportunities must make place alongside efforts to end gender-based violence and femicide. Together, these initiatives reflect a shared commitment to a world where women can truly realize their full potential. In this effort, we are inspired by the many women who, against extraordinary odds, have transformed adversity into opportunity. Women who, despite systematic discrimination, have pioneered businesses, led communities, developed innovative solutions that have improved the lives of millions of women around the world. Now, these are the women who have raised families while pursuing education, who have crossed cultural and structural barriers to lead in fields where they were once invincible, not to be seen. Now, these stories of resilience remind us that progress is not just about policy. It is about courage. It is about creativity. It is also about persistence. Your organization exemplifies this message. With over 8,400 members throughout the world, representing business, government, academia, and civil society, the IWF community demonstrates the power of collective leadership and ethical and progressive influence as well. This conference is a platform to examine how women in leadership can not only respond to today's challenges, but to anticipate the opportunities of tomorrow. The session at this conference that will bring global perspectives from women leading large institutions and shaping entire communities. Many of you lead organizations as it is now. Many of you lead institutions, and you have a lot to share. And you will have the opportunity to do so even at your gala dinner, where I am sure the shoes that you'll be wearing will have diamonds. Now, the discussions that you are going to have are especially timely in a world of shifting geopolitics, where multilateralism is tested and where new forms of cooperation are urgently needed. There is a resurgence of resistance to the gains made on human rights, on gender equality. There is a danger that the advancements made with respect to women's empowerment, women's rights, and gender equality may be unraveled. Concepts of diversity, concepts of inclusion are now being challenged. Inclusion that also means that women must be included in everything that is done about them and for them. Now, it is at this conference that you must push back. Your voices must be heard. This is a time when, as women of the world who occupy key positions, you should not sit back. This is a time when your voices must be raised to higher decibels. This is the time. But it also gives you an opportunity to be much more articulate, much more clearer, much more pointed in your messages. My call to everyone here today is, let us work together to ensure that there is no backsliding on the progress that we have achieved so far. Let us move forward with greater purpose and determination. As we proceed, we must continue to be guided by the spirit of the theme of your conference, Ubuntu. We must recognize that our progress is intertwined, that when women rise, societies rise with them. When women prosper, the whole community benefits. Your organization is about sharing knowledge, but sharing knowledge is not only about exchanging best practice or passing along resources. It's about building cultures where learning is safe, where curiosity is honored, and where failure is treated as data, not a dead end. It's about mentorship. It's about supporting one another. It is about what we should be doing, opening doors for one another. It is about making sure that the room where decisions happen becomes larger, more representative when it comes to racial inclusion, as well as gender inclusion, as well as class inclusion as well. And this is the courage that we must have. And this is the world that we must change and reshape. There are some pillars that can help us to get there. It is about building ecosystems, not empires. It is about practicing evidence-based empathy. Empathy helps us understand. Evidence helps us also to decide. And we need both. We need to lead with heart, but we also need to measure what we do with greater rigor. When women prosper, the whole community benefits. When girls are educated, the economy flourishes. Today we celebrate not only the leaders in this room, but also the millions of women worldwide who through courage and ingenuity are transforming their communities and breaking down barriers for the next generation. Now, this is our moment to reflect, to strategize, but more importantly, to act. Now, the outcomes of your conference must extend beyond these walls. They must influence policy. They must help in transforming institutions. And ultimately, they must create a more equitable and just world. This is what you should be doing. So for me, it is a true honor to have this opportunity to see you all. I may not be here the whole day to listen to your debates, but I am sure that just looking at the gallery here, you are women of influence, women who have impact. And may I say that through your discussions, do come up with solutions. Do speak truth to power today. Do make sure that your voice is heard. Do make sure that you empower one another so that all of you can stand on each other's shoulders and be able to see much further and bring young girls along so that they can see the world that belongs to them standing on your shoulders. Thank you very much.